Hi everyone, this is Amit Singh from CTO TV, and I very warm welcome all of you to this very interesting fireside chat today. And today we have got a very special guest who is Mr. Karthikeyan Krishnaswamy. He's the co-founder and CTO for KreditBee. Very warm welcome, Mr. Karthikeyan.
Very warm. Thank you, Amit. Nice to be here as a part of CXO TV here, and it's a pleasure to talk to you and your team.
Sure, sir. Sure. So, as we begin the conversation, let's start with a question around your entrepreneurial journey. Okay, so can you share the few of the key milestones and challenges you have encountered in your entrepreneurial journey, particularly in the fintech sector, and how they have actually shaped your approach as a CTO?
Yeah, hi. So this is a very interesting question, right? Because what happens here is that as a CTO, there are a couple of things that you need to basically balance, right? If you look at, if I wear a technological hat, the idea is that I would need to have the best technologies that are available at that point in time, and I would want to use that, right? But if I wear a different hat of, let's say, a business hat, right? It would be that whatever technology it is, what is the best value or the best time to market for a particular feature or something that the business can have, so that they can start running the basically the feature or functionality or product or whatever it is there, right? As what we call it, the business features that we provide to the customers, right? And if you look at different some other hats are also there, but primarily these are the two main hats that we would need to balance, right? So in terms of in this journey, what has happened is that we always need to balance out these two approaches, right? As in every part time, it is a balancing approach that we need to do, because at one end, what happens is that my team is looking at basically using the latest technologies that is out there, right? And at the other end, there is a business team which is looking at getting the feature out at the fastest time. So the balancing approach is to make sure what technology you use, so that we can deliver this product with basically in which the business teams are also happy, in which the technological teams are also happy, and where we can also continue going forward, maintain the solution or software basically in a very easy way, right? So this is one challenge, right? That is one thing. The other challenge is that there are different, different requirements or different regulations that come from the industry or from the regulatory bodies and all those things. Idea is that basically how fast we can move and how fast we can implement them is basically it's a necessity. And as a basically CTO, we need to basically make sure that the teams are realigned to meet the requirements of all the regulatory bodies, etc., which is basically being presented out, right? This is one the thing. The other one would be in terms of core technology. For example, let's say that India is a very wide country, and then you have basically let's say different forms. As in, each customer is not unique, and the documentation that each customer has also not unique. As in, recently it has maybe tended towards more of a unified Aadhaar kind of things. But if you look at 8 years back, it was probably the beginning of these things. So, we started off this journey. We had to go through a lot of aspects in which basically we had to make sure that the solution caters for all the wide disparity of customers that we had, right? So, making sure the technology works with all of that. So, the idea is that your solution should work with all these various different inputs that come, and making sure that it works for each and every customer that is coming was basically a challenge that we had over this journey. These are pretty much more on the technology side of things, which I am speaking about. Thank you.
Very good, very good. So with this, I also want to understand if you see the role of a CTO. So how has the role of CTO evolved over the last few years, and how has this evolution impacted leadership, basically your leadership at KreditBee?
Okay, so it's like as an organization grows, the role is also evolving, right? As in probably the idea when we started off this, let's say the first 6 months, the requirement was that we get out the features basically at a very fast pace, right? As in that was the requirement. But then if you would look at it, once we have a good set of customers, the requirement would basically switch to more of a stability kind of thing, right, of the system, so that more of the customers can be served, right? Then what would happen is that scalability is what would happen, right? As in the sense that after a certain period of this thing, you get a critical mass where there's an explosion of growth that happens. So your systems need to be able to handle the scalability, right? Then what would happen is that with scale, what happens is that comes, it's like, with great power comes great responsibility. With scale, also you need to have a great responsibility. So then your systems need to be basically tightened with respect to the compliances and the KYC processes and all those things of all the customers that are coming in, and making sure that all the data points are proper, all the security aspects are proper and all those things. So it would be more of security and compliance is what I would say is what as your organization is once it's past a tipping point of a certain growth phase, then security and compliances and the maintenance and basically stability and all those things basically take precedence over some of the other these things, right? This is how it has happened. And with respect to that, how we do that is that we as in the team is also obviously growing bigger as we grow. So the idea is that how do we structure the team so that we don't lose the initial DNA that we had as a startup, in which we were able to move fast, but then we also need to now move fast with all these proper constraints and viewpoints or balances in place, actually.
Very good. Very good. So, can you also tell some of the unique challenges and innovations that you have witnessed in the digital lending space in recent years, and how do they contribute to a more efficient and user-friendly borrowing experience for consumers?
Yeah, this is quite interesting, as an say, I meet my customers at every walk of life, right? As an just a couple of months back, I was at a resort, and then I had one of my customers was the manager of the resort. I had a taxi driver who was my customer. I had basically a couple of employees, well paid employees, basically of reputed organizations. I've met them who have been my customers. The couple of factors which ring basically with respect to what we provide to them is that one is the ease at which basically we are able to provide the loan to them based on the needs, right? So the idea is that one of the customers which I mentioned started off basically having the need of that whatever quantum of money that he needed because of a medical emergency. Another one wanted it mainly for Diwali, this thing he wanted to do it. So he's well paid, but then during this Diwali time, there was a certain amount of crunch, so he wanted to take care of that, right? So the idea is that we are available at any and every point of time that is there. It's in 24/7. It's not like basically 10 to 4:30 is what we are available for, right? So we are available from let's say 12 o'clock to 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., 24 hours, Saturdays, Sundays included, right? So that is one thing. Second thing is that with pretty much you having a mobile phone, you can access that access the credit and get the money in your bank account in less than basically 20 minutes or so, right? This helps basically a lot of people, customers in the in the non-metro areas where the banks and the banking sector is not 100% penetrated yet, right? As we go away from the metros, we see basically the number of bank branches that are available to the customers. Basically, the reach of them becomes more and more difficult. Your customer would have to, let's say, if you go to a tier 3 city, the customer would have to travel, let's say, half an hour or 1 hour to reach a bank account, just to be known that a certain document is not available or so on, right? And then he needs to do it. So it becomes a cumbersome process for a customer from that city or town to basically get a loan, right? So in terms of in the fintech space, what has happened is that with technology, basically we have been able to basically augment the speed at which we are able to provide the service to the customer at whatever time it is, right? As in, this is where technology has played a role. As in, obviously, there is an underlying technology of your 4G mobiles and 3G mobiles, which has helped this, which has laid the foundation. But on top of this foundation is where we have constructed basically each quite a bit of fintechs. Each one of us has built our own, house or something like that, which is able to provide basically a spectacular service to our set of customers, right? So some of them provide to SMEs. Some of them provide as personal loans. Some of them provide two-wheelers. Basically, no matter what it has been, it is pretty much the underlying principles are pretty much the same here. Actually.
Very good. So, can you also please talk about your basically KreditBee's global and India footprint and some of its business achievements over the last 12 to 18 months? And what exactly, in your view, are the critical factors that have been crucial for your success in such a dynamic and competitive market?
Okay, I think talking about ourselves, see, we are pretty much in India footprint, right? Our footprint is totally in India. We are not expanded globally because we feel that Indian market is big enough and also has got a good regulatory framework in which basically we can do things with a very, in a positive way and in a very, compliant way, right? Which might not be the case with a lot of other markets, basically. And the other part is that India is a very huge market, which itself is we are not able to cater for. And so I think in the at least in the foreseeable future, we would be catering to the customer needs in India. That's our pretty much goal, right? Over the last 12 to 18 months, we have basically launched new products, especially with respect to as in we have had huge successes in basically the lending space to customers, directly to customers. But now we want to kind of like extend this into basically other types of lending, like lending for SMEs segment, and then maybe a couple of other types of lending instruments that we are looking at to enter and then provide to the customer. So obviously the types of loans that we are giving, we are increasing the different types of loans that we are doing it. That is primarily the bigger achievements that we have done. And in terms of what we have done, the success that we had in the personal loan space, we want to kind of emulate it and replicate it in all the new business product lines that we're bringing in, right? That is what the team is working for, because some of these SME kind of loans are significantly different from personal loans. So the systems and the processes and all those things are being developed to cater for that kind of loans. And we also want to make those segments grow as big as the other personal loan segments that we are in right now, right? The crucial factors and critical factors that have been successful in us is probably we would identify ourselves as basically being very mature, right? In terms of doing a business in this market, right? And we are very resilient, mainly because basically we think through a lot of things before we basically take the next step, right? It ties in with the maturity aspect of what it is, right? We are along with that, we are also very nimble in the sense that, as I said earlier, so we want to still keep the startup culture within the teams here. So with respect to that, we want to bring in the nimbleness, obviously with the maturity and the resiliency also as a part of that, right? And we are also optimistic in the whole looking forward in terms of basically the India growth story, right? As in India has been, if you look at the digitization aspect of India, I don't think of late in the last 5 years or 10 years, there has been any story like this. A very good example is UPI, right? It's a worldwide success story, right? And similarly, along with that, basically, prior to that, you could look at 3G and 4G, the telecom sector. Again, basically, it's an unparalleled sector where the Indian masses, there is no other country where probably there has been as much success for the Indian customers in the telecom sector, in having communication as a basic need, right? So along with that, basically that lay the foundation, and then UPI has been built upon top of that telecom revolution. And because of that, basically, we are also able to do this digitization and services revolution that is happening on top of it. I don't think this will stop here. I think it'll only end up in basically where the India growth story basically be getting more digitized and more services being more and more digital and ease for the customers basically going forward.
Very good. Very good. So next thing I would like to understand is your top focus areas and expansion plans over the next 2 to 4 years from now.
Yeah, I think as I said, as in we are quite mature and basically in terms of the way we do business and all those things. So that naturally extends into basically security, compliance, and grow and how we can basically keep these things strong with the growth that we are also looking at, right? So top focus areas would be in terms of one. There are multiple arms. In one of the arms would be basically security and compliance, right? Other thing would be like a new business growth, right? In the terms of basically enhancing the feature set for different products, right? As in, for example, if you take SME loan, just to give you an idea, what would happen is that we would have a shop and establishment certificate of basically different state, each state has got a different certificate, and then how we now make sure that the system handles the certificate of all the states, right? So we need to develop features for that. So obviously, product level features are also a top focus area, right? Expansion plans would be basically like how we are doing for SME, as in terms of new product. How do we basically launch new products and functionality for the new products? The fourth one would be like maintenance and optimization of the existing products, right? As in, it cannot be that the product which is basically serving for most of our customers now, we basically keep fine-tuning and tweaking it and enhancing the feature set of that. So that would be continuing. So these are the 4 areas which generally we focus on and we work on actually.
Very, very. So according to you, what exactly is your outlook for the digital lending space in India, and what are the future trends that you see in this space?
I think the digital lending space is going to keep growing, right? I think there is no doubt in that, right? As in, what has happened is that if you look at it, the fintechs have come basically along with NBFCs. Basically, they have been able to move fast in terms of basically providing features to the customer. But even right now, even the traditional banks and all of them have also started basically equally competing in some of these basically with some of these fintechs. So on top of that, what has happened is that even the fintechs have started collaborating with the banks and with the established financial institutions, and they have started basically providing a unique set of features to basically customers. They have also collaborated with the other establishments, other established organizations, and they've augmented the existing feature set of what has been provided by the established players. So it is more like it's like a healthy competition and a healthy collaboration that is happening in this industry, which is very good actually. Which means that overall, what will happen is that the customer wins no matter what, right? As in, irrespective of in terms of basically ease of access to basically any of the products or any of the functionality that the customer is looking for, is basically he wins. And in terms of ease of using the the feature sets that is there, as in, so some of these banks have digital outlets, as in you have a physical setup, but then everything is done digitally there, right? As in, so there is transformation happening at the established sectors also. So all in all, I would say that there is a massive change happening in terms of not only lending space, in terms of the fintech space as it is, so with basically digital lending being just one arm of it. And this is not going to stop now, but it's going to continue forward with basically, and the regulators also playing as in is looking at it in a very and looking at and trimming down the excesses which some of the organizations or something is happening. So it is like there is a trimming happening, which makes the tree look good. So all in all, I would say it's a very exciting space to be in, and digital lending will grow, and the customers will benefit from this in the end, basically.
Very good. So I also firmly believe that digital lending is a space to be in, and it would definitely grow with leaps and bounds. And I believe you have given a few very deep insights, very interesting conversation we already had. So thanks a lot for your time. I believe the audience would have loved this conversation. And with this, I would like to end this conversation right now.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, CTO team. I think it's a pleasure talking to you. And thank you all. Yeah,
Sure.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.